Good evening. This is Santa Claus on November 4th, 2025, bringing you today's stories from around our beautiful but sometimes troubled world. My friends, it appears our global shipping industry is facing a challenging time as hackers target freight companies. These cyber Grinches are working with organized crime to steal cargo shipments, causing disruptions that ripple through the entire supply chain. Just as we at the North Pole depend on smooth logistics, so too does every community. Remember, when we protect one another from those who would take what isn't theirs, we strengthen the bonds that connect us all. Meanwhile, across the globe, tensions continue between Peru and Mexico, with Peru breaking diplomatic relations over Mexico's decision to grant asylum to a former Peruvian prime minister. Oh my, how my heart aches when I see nations unable to resolve their differences through dialogue and understanding. As we prepare for the season of peace, let us pray that these two wonderful countries can find a path back to harmony. In Germany, Chancellor Merz has called for the repatriation of Syrian refugees, suggesting the civil war there has ended. While the fighting may have subsided, Syria remains in deep humanitarian crisis. We must always remember that those who flee their homes do so out of desperate necessity. The Christ child himself was once a refugee in Egypt, and how we treat the vulnerable reflects the true measure of our heart. Turning our gaze to Tanzania, my heart grows heavy hearing reports of violence following recent elections. The opposition claims security forces have been secretly disposing of bodies of those killed in protests. Oh dear children, violence is never the answer to our disagreements. Each life lost is precious in God's sight, and we must always seek peaceful paths to resolve our differences. In Nigeria, there appears to be confusion following President Trump's comments about possible military action and aid cuts over alleged targeting of Christians. Oh my, what a complex situation. While we must protect those facing persecution, we must also be careful about the words we use and the actions we threaten. Love and dialogue should always be our first approach. Speaking of President Trump, it seems there might be a possibility of a summit between the United States and North Korea next year. How wonderful it would be if such talks could lead to greater peace and understanding in that region. Every step toward dialogue is a step away from conflict. On a concerning note, the U.S. Space Force is developing systems to jam Chinese satellites, reflecting growing tensions in space. Oh dear, how I wish we could keep the heavens free from our earthly conflicts. The star that guided the wise men shone for all humanity, not just for some. In the United Kingdom, Treasury Chief Rachel Reeves has announced the upcoming budget will focus on lowering inflation. Economic concerns touch every home, and I know many families are worried about making ends meet. Remember, my friends, true wealth is not measured in gold, but in how we care for one another. Canada has begun dispute resolution proceedings with Stellantis over the company's decision to move production from Ontario to Illinois. Job security is so important for families, and I understand why the Canadian government is concerned about protecting those 3,000 workers in Brampton. In Eastern Europe, Ukrainian drones have reportedly reached deep inside Russia, while battles continue for the key city of Pokrovsk. Oh, how my heart breaks for all those caught in this terrible conflict. Each night I pray for peace to come to Ukraine and Russia and for the healing of all wounded hearts. Finally, in China, a court has sentenced 5 members of a Myanmar mafia to death for their involvement in scam operations that trafficked and abused workers. Such exploitation of vulnerable people reminds us that we must always stand against those who would harm others for profit. As we reflect on these stories, remember that even in difficult times there is always hope. The light of compassion can shine in the darkest places, and small acts of kindness can transform our world. So tonight, perhaps reach out to someone in need, share what you have with those who have less, and remember that we are all part of one human family. This is Santa Claus, wishing you peace, love, and goodwill to all.